Well, hello, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. And the little guy is right on cue. Our next trolley stop is here. Our next trolley stop is now. Welcome back to another all-new episode of PR from the Heart's Children's Book Spotlight Series. To be precise, we have reached episode number 180. That is the 180th trolley stop here at the Children's Book Spotlight Series. And PR from the Heart, as we put the finishing touches, the period at the end of the sentence that is our summer reading season. My name is John Masiulionis, the manager here at PR from the Heart. He's already barked once on command. Little Forrest is joining me along for this magical journey that is episode number 180 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. I know we're a little bit saddened that we're placing the finishing touches, the period at the end of the sentence, on our summer reading season at the Children's Book Spotlight Series, but you know how one shifts to the next. We're excited to be able to head then immediately into our back to school season. We're really excited about our trolley stop this week because during the summer, during the back to school season, parents are really doing their part to teach their little ones new things, and educators as well too. And one of the really cool things that you can do as a parent, as a caregiver, and even to a certain extent, if you have one of those little play kitchens in your classroom, is to teach your children how to cook. It's obviously something that they can benefit from greatly as they get older, because then when the time comes to have their own families, they'll know exactly what to do. And leave it to a brand new children's book to be able to teach little ones not only how to cook, but so many more life lessons and benefits that they can utilize throughout childhood, their teenage years, into their grown adult years in the process. So we encourage all of you, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course our fellow shining stars, to be able to head on to the official website of our featured guest here on episode number 180 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series, which we have included in the description below. If Amazon.com is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, we encourage you to leave a 5-star review for Sandy Mac's What's for Breakfast, one of the most adorable children's books that you will currently find on the market today. While on Amazon, if that is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Sandy is to leave a 5-star review for What's for Breakfast. That's letting her know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, those who love great children's books, and those who firmly believe that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So the trolley is traveling from San Diego straight north of the border, to one of the most beautiful cities in Canada, just in Vancouver, British Columbia. Joining us as our featured guest here on episode number 180 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series to close out our summer reading season on the program is children's author Sandy Mac. Sandy, we appreciate you spending some free time with us here this week. How are things with you in Vancouver?
It's Edmonton. So far so good. Thank you, John. I'm really happy to be joining you here on the Children's Spotlight Series, episode number 180.
We are so excited to be able to have you. For all of our neighbors who are watching in Edmonton, we sincerely apologize. There's many beautiful cities in Canada, and Edmonton is just as beautiful as Vancouver. So now that we have that out of the way, we also encourage you, if you are new to the program, each and every week, there are new neighbors that we invite into our neighborhood in the process. So if you are learning about the Children's Book Spotlight Series for the first time, if you are connected right now with Sandy's messages, if you're saying, you know what's for breakfast? That's actually a good question. You wake up every day and you ask yourself, what are you going to have for breakfast? If you're wanting to learn a little bit more about some more important life lessons for not only your little ones, but also for yourself, talking about patience and taking your time, we're going to be getting more into all of that and then some. We encourage you to subscribe to PR from the Heart's official YouTube channel and share this very special trolley stop that you are now enjoying. It is episode number 180 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. Sandy, I'm really excited to talk about this book, but before we talk about the book, and there was a lot of care and time that you gave to the crafting of this. I can really feel that. There is always an origin story for all of us. At some point in time on your path, you obviously knew that this message needed to be shared, and you knew that your work here was meant for the children. For those who are learning about your work for the first point in time, who are learning about what's for breakfast for the first time, could you share with us your origin story, where things really began for you when you knew that your work, your mission, your purpose was for the children, and that in the process you were meant to become a children's author as well?
So first of all, I want to say that I love working with children. It's been my passion. I've been doing this for a decade, and I just love being around them. They make me smile. They just brighten my day all the time. And yeah, I've been working in this field for quite a long time, teaching children, and it's from the early childhood as being an early childhood educator for over a decade is what kind of got me started. And then over the years, 13 years ago, I decided to start up my very own day home, and that's um, where everything really began. I started with my son and one little one that started to enroll in my day home, and then it slowly, gradually increased to 25 different children that I was able to teach over the 11 years. And from there, I just enjoyed watching them learn and develop new skills, and just being able to be around them each and every day that they came into my home. It just was such a warm and great feeling to be able to do that for so many different children. And from there, I decided that uh, it's been so rewarding just watching the kids learn and grow through the years, and for parents and families to really feel that, made me feel the appreciation for the work that I've done over the years is
Mhm.
what really made me want to go further. And that's when I decided, you know what, I feel like there's something that I can do even more for children besides being able to teach them from my home. And, reading stories was a big thing and a big part of my day home. And that's when I just thought, putting all the creative side of things that I enjoyed doing and just teaching children over the years is what really pushed me to be like, maybe I could write a book and, share that with even more children besides just the six that I can have at a time through the years. And that's when everything kind of really started to to move from there.
And thank you for sharing that. I can only imagine, because when we take the time to read to a little one, whether it be our own child or a child that we're watching and taking care of, for all the grandparents out there spending time with their grandchildren throughout the summertime, you read the book to the little one, and you oftentimes you might find yourself asking yourself, like, what if I read to my little one the book that I wrote? There's nothing wrong with reading other people's books. There's countless of children's books out there, but was there a specific point in time, or was it a series of events? You obviously have this book, you've done a great job with it. When did you know that you had to get this specific message out there? Because this is not just any regular children's book. Again, there's so many life lessons that are interweaved throughout the whole story. Could you share with us a little bit more, if it was just like a specific epiphany kind of like event, like one day you woke up and said, here's my book and here's what it's going to be about? Or was it really like a series of events over a span of time that really said, you know what, not only do I have to be a children's author, but this is the message, the primary message of the book, What's for Breakfast?
So yes, I did put a lot of thought into my very first children's book. I wanted to apply everything that I've been teaching through the years to the children that have been a part of my day home. And it's about, they're always learning. They're always developing new skills, whether it's just, simple learning to walk, learning to read, learning to write, and learning to tie their shoes for their first time. Everything takes time, practice, and patience to get there. And I really wanted to send that message out for all the children out there, and it's through a children's story. And then from there, I had to think about what did I want inside this book. I have the message, who are the characters, and what's the what's the title gonna be? And I thought about, every day my kids would start the day off coming into my day home. And as soon as they walk into the door, we start off with breakfast. And they'd sit at the table and they'd be like, Sandy, what's for breakfast? So then that's where I got the title from, for What's for Breakfast, for the children's book. And from there, I just started to put in more ideas into, their meals, what they had every morning with me for breakfast. So I kind of tried to incorporate a little bit of that, but also some of my personal experiences as well growing up and also raising my son. So I put a little bit of all of that into the book as well.
I love that. And again, whenever you're talking to your little ones about breakfast, you're starting the day, you're setting the tone, you're setting the intention. And there's, again, it's one of the things that we can really connect with. There are still, even though the family dynamic and the scheduling has shifted, not necessarily everyone gathers around the breakfast table or gathers around the dinner table in the way in which that they did beforehand. But it is long since been said that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. We'll be talking more about that. We obviously are human and we're divine at the same point in time. So we can experience challenges and difficulties and obstacles and problems and stressors and troubles on our path along the way, especially when we're stepping into something that we've never done for the first time. So again, in your work as an early childhood supervisor, you are teaching children new skills, and they can easily have fears, anxieties, challenges, difficulties, and the same, undoubtedly, you may have experienced that along the way with the process of creating this book. A lot of people who tune into the Children's Book Spotlight series are children's authors, illustrators, entrepreneurs, even those who are just starting their first business, and especially parents who are just going to become parents for the first time. So it involves a lot of newness and involves a lot of emotions and feelings, that rainbow of emotions and feelings that happen to come up. What were specifically some of the challenges and difficulties that you experienced along the way when you knew, okay, I'm going to be a children's author, it's going to be What's for Breakfast? What were some of the things that you felt that you moved through along the way between challenges and difficulties? And then based on that, what were some of the things that help you to get through to the other side of those challenges and difficulties?
Well, the main challenge for me was putting in time to be able to write this children's book. I do work full time, and then I have my son that I care for, and my schedules are really busy throughout the day as I go. So putting in time was a big thing, but you know what? I managed it, and I made sure that I put in time aside, usually at my late nights at the end of my work shift. And after putting my son to bed, then I'd get right to my children's book and start the process from there. But even starting just from the beginning of, okay, I'm going to write a children's book. Where am I going to start? How am I going to do it? Am I going to do it myself, or am I going to trying to figure it out through the internet, online, and searching and everywhere from there. But that was a little bit of a tough one for me. But eventually I did find a really good children's book, a writing class that I was able to join. And I've learned all the different steps from the very beginning to the very middle to the end of the writing process. And then from there, then I've learned all the steps, how to write the book from beginning to end. The next step was, how am I going to publish it? That was the biggest one for me, publishing it. How do I publish a children's book? That definitely was a tough one for me. But I did come across a Miriam Laundry, who she has a publishing mastermind class. And from there, she had all the steps from the very beginning to the very end. And it gave me all the tools that I needed to reach where I am today.
And yes, we do want to give a little special shout out to our friends and neighbors at Miriam Laundry Publishing. They did a great job in working with you to bring your message to form, to shape, and to life. And we appreciate all of you spending some time with us here in our neighborhood as we officially close out our summer reading season here at PR from the Heart's Children's Book Spotlight series. Joining us as our featured guest on episode number 180 is children's author Sandy Mack from Edmonton, Canada. We appreciate, again, not only you spending some time with us here in our neighborhood, but also we appreciate you spending your time heading on over to Sandy's official website, which we've included in the description below, in addition to Amazon.com. When you are there, you can purchase your copy of What's for Breakfast. While on Amazon.com, if that is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, you can leave a 5-star review. Of course, that's one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Sandy, to let her know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, those who love great children's books, and those who love a good omelet to start the day. Just raise your hand if you like to have a good omelet every now and again to start the day. It's always good to have an omelet, at least every now and again, so to speak. Getting ready to dive into the pages of this book, it's such a sweet story, literally and figuratively. Like, let's be honest, life can be we can take things way too seriously. Life can move by really fast. There can be a lot of stress that's out there. And I know when I first cracked open your book, there was this feeling of calmness, this feeling of relaxation. It's this really sweet story, and we're introduced to a little boy named Willie, and not only does he want breakfast, but he knows what he wants. He's a very determined young lad. He's craving a gooey cheese omelet, and his mom, guides him through the process. Now, obviously, one of the things that we don't like to do here at the Children's Book Spotlight is we don't like to give away the whole kit and caboodle. You obviously have to read the entire story for What's for Breakfast to see what happens from beginning to end, and to see if Willie does land up actually receiving his gooey, cheesy omelet. For those who, again, are learning about your story for the first time, could you share with us a little bit about what Willie learns along the way? Because it's not just, a path to getting a good breakfast meal. He really does learn a lot along the way. So as we dive inside the pages of What's for Breakfast, could you take us inside the story and share some of the lessons specifically that Willie learns along the way?
Yeah, so Willie, he learns to make an omelet, and the first step is being a big help as well at the same time. So he, takes his ingredients out and helps bring all the ingredients from the refrigerator out onto the countertop, and then starts prepping for the process of making his omelet. And when he first learns to crack an egg open, it's not going to be perfect the first time. So he's going to have a little, crumbles here and there. So there is eggshells that did fall inside the mixing bowl. But from there, he still kept going. He never stopped. The next egg that he cracked, same thing. He cracked it open, and then it gets better through time. It's not going to be perfect again, right? But throughout this story, I did incorporate Sparky the dog into the storyline as well, just to make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting for children. That, even though you're cooking an omelet, you have a dog in the kitchen at the same time. It's not going to be a perfect, smooth cooking from the beginning to the end. From there, then he's learning to take his time and to keep going and not stop after scooping the eggshell out and not continuing. He still continued on and tried it again with another egg, and then just built up kind of his confidence to get there. And as he's mixing the eggs, he gets to stir, and then he gets to scoop, and then he gets to flip the eggs with Mom's help after. And that's when he learns to has to learn to wait and take time, because he was a little bit trying to rush and flip the egg before it was time to flip it. But Mom says, just give it another minute. And then he took his time. He did take a deep breath in and out. And I put that in just to show that, it takes time, and to be patient and wait for it to fluff up a bit before flipping the omelet over. And then through that, he continues through the story and is able to get to the end through the, learning to make an omelet from the beginning to the end.
And again, there's this bonding that happens between Willie and his mom. And I think that is one of the other endearing qualities and messages of the book is that you know, when you fast forward, when a little one looks back on his life, they'll remember the most important thing is the time that mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, their teacher gives them. They won't necessarily remember the big shiny bell or whistle that they got. There's nothing wrong with those big shiny bells and whistles that you get, you know, gifts and so on and so forth. But it's really about the time and the care that you actually give. And that was really like, I could feel that. I could feel that when I was enjoying the story and saying, wow, you know, Willie is not only, you know, becoming more independent, and we'll put a pin in that. We'll talk about that as well. He's learning to make breakfast, but he also has some fun in the process. And that's one of the cool things is that, you know, during the summertime, you know, across North America, both Canada and in the US, you know, people take the time to grill outside, and it's a lot of fun. You talk with people and whatnot. So this really leads me into my next question as well, as just kind of coming in the flow right now. There's something about food that brings people together, whether it be a family around the dinner table, whether you have, you know, a neighborhood block having a big barbecue together and everyone communicating with one another. There's something, and this really has been the case for, you know, almost since the beginning of time, probably. In your estimation, what is it about food that brings families together?
It's a time to socialize and connect and enjoy the meals. And, you know, we all, you know, that's our time to sit and connect with each other. And I find that food is important. It helps us, you know, it also, not only is it important for children to have, you know, their breakfast. I mean, I did come up with the breakfast because food is important when they first wake up in the morning. It's, you know, they need the energy, they need to keep going throughout the day and be more alert with their learning. And, you know, it's important to have that.
And I'm glad that you touched upon that, because you already answered my next question of why breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And you're right, it really does set the tone. It sets the intention. It's a way to be able to connect, even if it's not necessarily, you know, mother and son. It could be father and daughter. It could be brother and sister. There's, again, something connective about the experience of that. One of the many reasons that I really love your book as well, and we talked about this in the PR from the Heart Green Room, are the messages. Specifically speaking, the two of the ones that come to mind, and then there's also a third one, but I have a separate question on that, is the importance of patience and taking your time. And you see, Willie, you know, a lot of children can be a little rambunctious. You know, they want to get from point A to point Z just like a quick snap like that, but you can't. You have to be able to take things literally one step at a time. And especially as children are learning something new, and especially as children can get stressed out easily, they can get discouraged very easily. Why was it important to you to include those two messages, especially of patience and taking your time, in the story? And then why do you feel that it's important as parents and caregivers, especially early on in life, to communicate these messages, to talk to our kids about these things as well too?
Because it is important, because anything a child learns, or even as adults, when we learn something new, it does take time to get there. It's not gonna happen right away, and we want them to learn to not get upset right away when something isn't gonna get, if they don't get it right away. So patience is important, to be more calm, and to, you know, it's important even now, whether it's now or whether they grow up into adults. Patience is important to have in our life to get to, you know, throughout the years.
And when you take your time, it's interesting, because this is one of the things I know that David Newell and I talked about, which, by the way, if you haven't had the opportunities to watch the newest installment of PR from the Heart's Neighborly Reviews bookcast, David Newell, the beloved Mr. McFeely from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and I, we dive further into the pages of Sandy Mac's What's for Breakfast. And I know that we talked, I used the word savor. We not only savor our meals like breakfast, but we can also savor the experience. If it just took us, you know, 5 seconds to do this thing or that thing, we wouldn't learn along the way. So it's really important to savor the experience, not only of putting together the breakfast, enjoying the breakfast, spending time with whoever that we're sharing breakfast with. So I'm really, if you haven't had the chance to watch the newest episode of the Neighborly Reviews bookcast, it is now available, prfromtheheart.com, and our official YouTube channel as well too. One of the other reasons that your book stands out quite a bit amongst a lot of books that are out on the market is the message of teaching kids to do something by themselves. The words self-reliance comes to mind. And I know, and I can speak very openly and transparently, it took me a longer time to be able to learn how to do things growing up. And there are things that I'm learning now, just literally days away of turning 42, that maybe some people learn when they're 30 or when they're, 20. So it's really important, and it's really essential, paramount even, for us to be able to teach our kids about self-reliance, so that, again, as they grow older, it doesn't become as much of a challenge. Because if you wait to learn something, the longer that you wait, the more difficult that it can be. Can you talk to us a little bit more about the thread of self-reliance? So again, you obviously have the lens of being a mom. You have the lens of being, being in the educational realm, and the taking care of children, being with them every day. Could you share with us and speak to us a little bit more about self-reliance and really why that is a key to our little ones, especially as they're starting off their next steps and really growing up in life?
I just feel that, kids, it's important for kids to learn to be independent and to try new things and trying to do it by themselves and not always counting on an adult like mom, dad, can you do this for me? Because that's how they learn and grow, right? Throughout the years, anything they do, they're going to have to learn to do it by themselves. Mom and dad, or, educators, teachers were there to help them, but then for them to do it themselves, it helps kids build their confidence as well too, and be like, oh, I actually can do it by myself, and that's why it's nice that, for them to learn. For example, with my story of what's for breakfast, having him help go get the ingredients from the refrigerator, he's doing it by himself, and then cracking the eggs slowly, and then being able to help mix and stir and flip the omelet. Those are skills that they're going to eventually learn to do by themselves. Right now, they're learning the skill of making an omelet, but in the end, when they're an adult, they can do it all by themselves without the help of mom and dad around.
Correct. And one of the things as well, and I'm really glad that you shared it that way, is that little ones can then even more so take pride in whatever it is, whether it be making an omelet, whether it be baking a cake, whether it be, building something, whether it be writing a paper at school. For example, they can take pride. There's something about that pride that we have when we're able to do something by ourselves. There's obviously people there to support us along the way if we do need help and assistance. But again, that self-reliance is key, because we really want to do our part to teach the next generation of children that are more self-reliant, that can be more independent, because then they're able to have even more confidence and can truly do even more amazing things in life. We're beginning to wind down our time with our featured guest here on episode number 180 of PR from the Heart's Children's Book Spotlight Series. Children's author Sandy Mack, joining us from Edmonton, Canada, joining us here again on the program. We encourage you, if you haven't had the opportunities to do so, to head on over to Sandy's official website, which we have included in the description below. Also, you can head on over to Amazon.com if that is your particular online vehicle of your choosing, your favorite online vehicle of your choosing, and leave a 5-star review for What's for Breakfast. That is, again, Sandy's new children's book that we are fully enjoying here in episode number 180 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. Again, by leaving a 5-star review for Sandy, that's one of the many ways that you can pledge your support for her, to let her know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books. And yes, the fact that you included a furry friend in your story when I was reading your book with little Forrest, he knew that he wasn't alone. Anytime that there is a children's book that has a dog in it, I mentioned Sparky, little Forrest really loved that extra added touch in What's for Breakfast. So if you are a dog lover as well too, you'll definitely get a hoot. You'll get a kick out of What's for Breakfast. And of course, for all educators that are out there as well too, not only in Canada, but in the United States, if you are interested in facilitating a virtual author school visit for Sandy, you can connect with her via her official website, which again, we have included in the description below to make things that much easier for you in the process. We always like Sandy to be able to provide some tips, some tools, some strategies, key things that parents, caregivers, grandparents, and educators can immediately take away from a children's book spotlight series episode and then share it with the little ones, with the students in their lives, so to speak. And the first question of two that actually come to mind again, when we talk about teaching kids new things and teaching kids how to cook, you know, sometimes in life things can seem like they're boring. Sometimes things can seem like they're challenging. You know, like if you're going to be cooking, let's say, you know, a 5-course meal that has multiple different ingredients and different courses, it can be like, whoa, I don't know if I can do that, right? So what are some of the ways in which we can do our part to make cooking fun for kids? So it's not like, you know, mom or dad goes to the little one and says, okay, now you're going to be responsible for this. And the little one will be like, oh, but I don't want to. To let them know that it can be fun and not a chore can make things that much more exciting for children. So what are some ways in which we can do our part to help make cooking more fun for kids?
Well, I think it's important to have them include them and have them help out with things that are, you know, the basic simples, just, you know, the little things to help, give them opportunities to help out, right? Whether it's just, you know, pulling something out from the pantry or, you know, bringing the utensils out of the drawer, and just, you know, the little things is what's important to get them interested in helping out and cooking. Maybe they may not like cooking what you want to cook one day. Maybe you want, for example, the omelet. They don't want an omelet, maybe. Then, well, they don't like omelets, but you could have them, oh, what would you like to put in your omelet? Maybe we can put something that you like in there. And then maybe that'll help them get more interested in, you know, sprinkling the things that they like to eat inside the omelet, and then they may enjoy it. But just having them, you know, give them more opportunities to be able to help out, and like having them give ideas what they like to make for breakfast. That's another something else that you can, you know, have children give an idea what they would like to eat and go from there.
And on that thread as well, too, as we're now beginning to embark shortly on the back to school season. So kids all across Canada, all across the United States, they're heading back to school. And similarly to cooking, but in a little bit of a different way, you know, we really can do our part as parents and caregivers and grandparents and educators to let kids know that learning also doesn't need to be a chore, that learning can be fun, that when you say, okay, kids, it's time to go to school today, you can hear them, oh, I don't want to go to school. And to change that, to help them shift their perspective and the narrative to, I can't wait to get to school. So specifically in your realm as an early childhood supervisor, being a mom yourself on your end of things, especially for all the parents and educators who are tuning into episode number 180 of the Children's Book Spotlight series, what are some specific things that come to mind for you that we can do to help our children, to encourage them to enjoy learning more this back to school season and beyond?
To just make it more fun and be there to help them, and just doing things together. And, you know, like school is supposed to be a fun time. You're going to learn, you're going to make new friends, you're going to learn to read, or you're going to learn to write, you're going to learn to add in math, like just lots of different things. You're going to, you know, enjoy the fun things that you get from sports. You know, there's lots of things that are good about going to school. And, you know, you got to make it enjoyable for them, not make it feel like, oh, okay, it's school and, it's boring. We're just sitting at a desk. But look at all the fun things you get to do there when you're there.
That's true. And also one of the things that, I mean, you're really putting this into practice with the fact that your story, what's for breakfast, like you're really setting the tone for this through thought, word, action, and follow through. You've actually written a book that is encouraging children to enjoy learning and to develop new skills and really understand that they can achieve whatever it is that they want to do. And so again, the fact that you're putting this into practice is really commendable in the process. What are some specific things that, because again, parents and educators, they have a lot on their plate. You always have a lot on your plate if you're a parent and you're an educator. What are some words of support and encouragement, especially if parents and educators are feeling overwhelmed? It's like, okay, wow, where'd the summer go? Oh my gosh, it's the back to school season almost right now. What are some words of support and encouragement that you want to pass along to parents and to educators to let them know that no matter what it is that they may be experiencing challenge-wise or whatever's on their plate, that they can be able to move through that and really enjoy this season that's about to begin?
Well, there's always going to be challenges when when school starts. It's going to get busy, but you know what? Stay positive. We're going to get there, and it's going to take time to get to those, to the better side of things. We, you know, as a parent and an educator, there's always going to be different things that we have to overcome and get to the end of the rainbow. But you know what? Staying positive and just keep growing, keep learning, and just getting there.
I really appreciate you communicating all of that. Now, again, the big questions to remember as you turn the page and begin to read What's for Breakfast is that, Willie's never made an omelet before. So again, can he figure out the perfect recipe, or will he miss out on his favorite part of the day? The only way that you can find out is by reading What's for Breakfast. We encourage all of you, again, our listeners and viewers, our friends and neighbors, and of course, our fellow shining stars, to head on over to Sandy's official website, which we've included in the description below. And of course, if Amazon is also your favorite online vehicle of your choosing, be sure to leave a 5-star review for What's for Breakfast. That's one of the many ways you can encourage Sandy and remind her that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books. Sandy, there are 2 ways that we always like to close out each children's book spotlight series. We feel that his spirit, his presence with us, especially as little ones, wind down the summer and are approaching, heading back to school. And we remember, of course, the late Fred Rogers, the host of the popular long-running children's television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. And he did this through different times, whether it be through the program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, whether it be through different talks and commencement speeches that he had across the country, as well as most notably before he received his Lifetime Achievement Award at the Daytime Emmy shortly before he passed from stomach cancer. He always encouraged us to remember those who helped love us into being. And that was Mr. Rogers' way of saying, remember those people along the path that helped us to enjoy life, to develop new skills that, dare I say, even helped to teach us how to cook and to assist us in the process of making our breakfasts, our lunches, and dinners, and to teach us to be self-reliant. So who are some of the people that you would like to publicly recognize on episode number 180 of the Children's Book Spotlight series that helped love you, Sandy Mack, into being?
I would have to say, I want to thank my parents. They've been very supportive of me and everything I did, whether, it was my career, whatever I chose to do, they were always there to support me all the way. And my son is the biggest one. He's my rock. He's the one that keeps me going and keeps me on my feet and keeps me strong and get to where I am today. And, and having all the friends in my really, really close friends, they've been very supportive me throughout the years that I needed them the most as well. So yeah, I just want to thank all of them. And then thank you, John, for all of this to getting me here today for this Children's Spotlight series. And then, you know, everyone else who's been in the process of helping me get to writing a children's book. It's a very big thing for me. So.
Well, undoubtedly, Sandy, this has been such a pleasure to be able to have you be a part of the PR from the Heart families. You know, we just recently, we're still in the process of celebrating our 9-year anniversary at PR from the Heart, and we've been introduced to many children's authors and have had the privilege and the honor and the blessing of supporting many of the shining stars in the kid-lit community along the way. And I know that when I cracked open your book, and it was one of the first pages, and it says, Willie was a boy who loved to eat. And then there was, you see the images of cereal and bagels and pancakes and oatmeal and toast and bacon and eggs and muffins. I said, we're on to something. This has to be one of the most beautiful books ever written about connecting kids with breakfast. And again, Miriam Laundry and her team at Miriam Laundry Publishing did an amazing job in helping to bring this to life. Sandy, you have given so freely from your heart to not only Tyson, your son, to your family, to those little ones that you've watched along the way in Edmonton, Canada. You've given back through your writing to children, parents, families, educators across Canada, throughout the United States, around the world. And so this is your time to receive. And one of the things that we always firmly believe here at the Children's Book Spotlight series, we all have dreams and goals, ambitions. We truly all have wishes in our life, things that we want to take form and shape. And I feel that we have the abilities to help one another, to help our fellow neighbors, to bring those dreams, desires, goals, ambitions, wishes to life. So again, as you have given so freely to so many, this is your time to receive. So up pops up the trusted genie lamp here at PR from the Heart in the Children's Book Spotlight series. So you are being given 3 wishes as part of our closing segment that we like to call 3 wishes. This is a little tip of the cap to one of our favorite Disney movies of all time. We remember the late Robin Williams, who voiced the Genie of the Lamp in Disney's 1992 animated classic Aladdin. So these wishes are for you, Sam. I think the only 2 automatic disqualifiers, you can't ask for more wishes, you can't make someone fall in love with you, but anything else is fair game. So you are being given 3 wishes. They can be for yourself, they can be for your family, they can be for the children of the world. What would those 3 wishes be for you, Sandy?
My first wish is to just for everyone, all the families out there, to just enjoy breakfast together and make it a fun time to connect and just start your morning with a great, wonderful day. That's the biggest wish I would like for the first one. And then the second one is I just want kids to, all the children out there, to just continue learning, growing, and just have patience and practice. And once you set your mind on something, you will get there. And it will take a few times, but just remember, keep learning, keep growing, and things will get to that end result where it's a good thing at the end. And thirdly, I guess my wish would be, I just want these to be able to share my books around for more children out there, like being able to teach what I've done already over the years with a small amount of kids. I'd like more children to get to be able to continue learning and have the support from their teachers, their educators, or parents, grandparents, anybody that's out there for them. And especially the orphanage kids. I'd love them to be able to, I really want to share that with those children, hopefully one day.
And I really believe, Sandy, that when one makes those wishes from their heart, they have a greater chance of coming true. And, some people use the expression from one's mouth to God's ears, so to speak. So I feel that those have got a good, those wishes have a good chance of coming to form and shape in the process. Before we wrapped up, I just wanted to share, just going back to the message about patience. I know that, the little furry angel in my life, little Forrest that I have, we've been doing our part to learn and grow together over a span of about the past 8-9 months or so. And your book, even though it teaches about, what's for breakfast and cooking and just going back to that message of patience and taking your time, it's really reminding me to be that much more patient with myself and to give little Forrest the time that he needs to learn the things. We're still kind of in the midst of some of the potty training. He's kind of gotten some of the potty training down pat, but he's not at 100%, so to speak. So again, if there's a little one in your life that maybe is just necessarily needing to be reminded about patience, and especially, I tend to believe that children's books tend to be shared as children's books, but they're actually meant for us as big kids, because we have the inner child that still lies within us. If you're an adult, and even if you don't have a little one and you're needing just the really good messages that you need to really remember about patience and taking your time, then What's for Breakfast is the book for you. Raise your hand if you have had fun on episode number 180 of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. We see hands from Sandy, hands from myself, hands from the little ones on screen. As we close out our summer reading season here at PR from the Heart, you know what that means. Mission accomplished and job well done. And as little Forrest, you heard him barking just a little bit at the very beginning. He's calm and he's chill right now. But one of the things little Forrest wants us to remind you is that he has given 2 paws up for What's for Breakfast, one of the great endorsements that you can have in the world of children's literature. And he comes on command. So here is the little guy, fresh off of a bath and grooming. He has officially given 2 paws up. I know, little Forrest, you love What's for Breakfast, don't you? I know he really loves What's for Breakfast. So we encourage all of you to head on over to Sandy's official website, which we've included in the description below. You can also, again, for all educators who are interested in facilitating a virtual author school visit with Sandy for the brand new 2023-2024 school year, to head on over to Sandy's official website, where you can connect with her, and your little ones, your students, will be able to learn about so many important life lessons that will help them not only during this school year, but many back to school seasons, and just really life in general in the process. And of course, again, if Amazon.com is your preferred online vehicle of your choosing, you can leave a 5-star review for What's for Breakfast. One of the many ways that you can pledge your support for Sandy to let her know that she's doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books. And of course, when we hear the trolley, little Forrest, you know what that means? That's right. That means that it is time to go. But there are many more magical trolley stops to come, because not only are we going to be celebrating the back to school season here at PR from the Heart, but it's almost time that we celebrate the 5-year anniversary of the Children's Book Spotlight Series. We are so grateful for all of your support. This program is now about to achieve this momentous benchmark. Truly, without you, there would be no us. So again, if you are a children's author and would like to share your inspiring story in the release of your brand new children's book on a forthcoming edition of the Children's Book Spotlight Series, you can head on over to our official website, prfromtheheart.com, or you can connect with us via any of our social media platforms that you now see on screen. Facebook and Instagram, and yes, thanks to thanks to Elon Musk, it's no longer called Twitter. We're calling it X. It may take some time for us to get used to referring to Twitter as X, but you can connect with us as well via any of our social media platforms. As we mentioned earlier during the course of our trolley stop together, we hope that you enjoy our newest installment of PR from the Heart's Neighborly Reviews bookcast, where we proudly feature David Newell and I, of course, the beloved Mr. McFeely from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We share, we review, we dive into the pages of Sandy's What's for Breakfast, in addition to Michael Genhardt and John Parra's Spanish is the Language of My Family, courtesy of our friends and neighbors at Neil Porter and Holiday House Books. That is now available, of course, our official website, prfromtheheart.com, along with our official YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/prfromtheheart. So if you are a children's author and would love for David and I to share your brand new book, to deliver a new heartfelt neighborly review of your brand new children's book, you can head on over to our official website at prfromtheheart.com, or connect with us via any of our social media platforms. And of course, we are now in the midst of preparing for our holiday season and helping authors' dreams to take flight in 2024. It's hard to believe that the new year is almost upon us. If you are looking to share your inspiring story through the media, to be able to connect with more parents, caregivers, grandparents, and educators. If you're looking to facilitate a book media tour in a city of your choosing, if you're looking to facilitate a national book media tour, connect with us here at PR from the Heart. Schedule your courtesy connection call by heading on over to our official website, prfromtheheart.com. And again, let us see how we can be of service to you, because of course now is the best time to be able to be a member of the PR from the Heart family, especially coming off the heels of the success of our amazing event. We also want to take the time to thank our friends and neighbors at Barnes & Noble at the Grove, who helped us to be able to create and to give back to educators and parents throughout Los Angeles and Southern California. Building a culture of reading in your classroom was a phenomenal success. A special shout out to Catherine Roy, Janine Ledford, Jeanette Crystal Bradley, and Jim Price, to all of the educators and parents who joined us along the way. Thanks to you, we were able to make a beautiful donation to It Takes a Village to do our part to be able to end homelessness in Los Angeles, for children in LA, and for children around the world as well too. So a little shout out to everyone involved with building a culture of reading in your classroom. Again, one more time, you can head on over to it. Little Forrest is wanting us to remind you of this. Head on over to Sandy's official website, which we've included in the description below, in addition to heading on over to Amazon.com, or if you're in Canada, Amazon.ca. You can leave 5-star reviews for What's for Breakfast, as that will remind Sandy, remind her that she is doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books in the process. We want to thank all of you for spending some time with us here during our summer reading season at the Children's Book Spotlight Series and PR from the Heart. Fear not. Again, things are going to continue to get even more magical along the way. The back-to-school season, the 5-year anniversary celebration of the Children's Book Spotlight Series, and then sooner than we know it, it will be the holiday season here at PR from the Heart as well. So we want to thank you for your continued support of PR from the Heart, for your continued support of the Children's Book Spotlight Series, for your continued support of children's authors and illustrators such as Sandy Mack, who again are doing wonderful and much needed work for children, parents, families, educators, and those who love great children's books, for the pillars of our community, local libraries and children's and independent bookstores, who are truly providing a valued service to children, parents, families, and educators, and again, those who love great children's books. And above all else, we want to thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world. One final time, we tip our cap to our favorite friend and neighbor, Mr. Rogers. Did you know that Mr. Rogers actually weighed 143 pounds for the majority of his natural adult life? As we like to say here on the Children's Book Spotlight Series, we like to think that he might have found the fountain of youth along the way, that he was connected to Ponce de Leon possibly in a past life, because 143, interestingly enough, those 3 numbers are very powerful. There's 1 letter in I, 4 letters in love, and 3 letters in you. That was, in many respects, Mr. Rogers' private numerology, his reminder, his way of reminding all of us that he loved us. 1 letter in we, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. So as a little tip of the cap to Mr. Rogers, we like to share our favorite 3 numbers, because Sandy was very kind to give us some of her free time here this week on the program. So we like to share 243. There's 2 letters in we, 4 letters in love, and 3 letters in you. That is our reminder that you are loved, that you are whole, that you are healthy, that you are complete, that you are special just the way that you are. We see the self-reliance in you. We see that you are capable of big, wonderful, beautiful, amazing things, not only this upcoming back to school season, but further beyond in the process. And that, yes, even if something seems a little bit scary, if you're going to be trying something new for the first time, that just as we learned through What's for Breakfast, Willie does have the opportunities to get what it is that his heart is desiring. And it can even be much more than a beautiful, delicious, gooey cheese omelet. So for Little Forrest, for Sandy Mack, for myself, John Masiulionis, thank you for spending some quality time with us here in our neighborhood at PR from the Heart and the Children's Book Spotlight Series. Thank you for helping us to walk home the children of the world, our fellow friends, our fellow neighbors, and our fellow shining stars. Goodbye for now.